and you will face justice. The truth is, the truth is, no city, no state, no agency can win this fight alone. But together, we can turn the tide. Every connection to treatment, every drug dealer behind bars where they belong, every life saved brings us closer to a fentanyl-free future. To the families here today, your courage was what fuels this movement. You have used your voices to make sure the world does not turn away from this epidemic, and we stand with you here, in grief, and in action, and in hope. Let's honor those lives that we lost, not just with words, but with action and work. The work that relentlessly unites us and has driven the belief that every single life saved is a victory. Together we will turn hope into action, and we will honor this commitment by keep fighting. And together we will save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. We would like to present our DEA, our New York DEA. With a token of gratitude for your steadfast support of families impacted by fentanyl and for standing with us in a moment of history when our nation faces its deadliest drug crisis. Your partnership brings hope, strength, and a voice to those we have lost. Together we fight for change. Our Department of Homeland Security, HSI, CBP, so many that stand together with us today. We close ranks here. Today we're all one. John Modlin, Acting Deputy Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, has stepped up to stand with our families. We welcome him to the podium.
Thank you.
I think that your director, Frank Russo, or Francis Russo, is maybe going to say a word or two.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. Thanks. Hey, good morning, everyone. As stated, I'm John Modlin, Deputy Commissioner for U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and it's my great honor to be here representing the 67,000 employees of Customs and Border Protection. As many of you are aware, that includes the 20,000 U.S. Border Patrol agents that are out every day patrolling the border, the Customs and Border Protection officers who are all around here, our Air and Marine contingent, our scientists, our folks that work in the trade environment, all to keep bad people and bad things outside the United States. Obviously, one of the great sort of troubles that we have is with fentanyl. As the administrator from the DEA said, it's absolutely coming in from China and from Mexico. Since January of this year, CBP has seized 6,000 pounds of fentanyl. To give you an idea, that's 600 million doses. Thank you. But I think more importantly, that's 380 million lethal doses. That's enough to kill every person in the United States. That's just since January of this year. Every single person in the United States. So just amazing work that Customs and Border Protection is out there doing every day. And what I think is incredibly important too, and the DEA administrator touched on it, is that it is the cartels that are bringing this poison into the United States. Back in February, the cartels were named as foreign terrorist organizations, and that is the greatest help from an enforcement side that we've seen in years. This now gives us the ability to put consequences against those people. Anyone that's involved in this, whether they are the folks in Mexico that are synthesizing the drug, they're the people that are bringing it across the borders, the people that are moving it within inside the United States, they are all providing material support to terrorist organizations. And with our partners, we will go after all of them. And I think probably the thing that I would be remiss if I did not talk about is looking out and seeing all the faces It is absolutely heartbreaking. As I was standing back there, I was looking across at Nathaniel Mendoza. Just heartbreaking to see a 10-year-old victim of fentanyl. So most importantly, what I want to say is God bless you, the Mendoza family. God bless all the survivors that are here, and just please know that CBP is with all of you. Thank you. I'm sorry, and I do have to introduce Frank Russo, the local CBP head. Sorry, Frank.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. To Andrea Thomas, thank you so much for inviting us today. To Special Agent in Charge, Frank Tarantino from the DEA, thank you again. And to Kaz Daughtry, the Deputy Mayor. Such an honor to be here today. In a few weeks, we are going to remember the events of 9/11, the tragic events of 9/11. And when I think back to those tragic events, I think about the fact that law enforcement has done so much to ensure that another attack of that magnitude never happens again on this country. Well, the fentanyl crisis in this country is just like 9/11, except it's every day that we're dealing with this. And seeing all the faces of those who have tragically died as a result of the fentanyl epidemic truly reminds me of like the 9/11 attacks and what we must do. And Frank Tarantino mentioned that we are early in this fight. Like he said, it's the first inning of this fight. We need to attack it the way we attack the 9/11 threat. We need to be relentless in making sure that all of us remember what happened that caused 9/11 and how we have to work as partners with the DEA, with NYPD, with the Mayor's office, and with all of our federal and local partners to ensure that those numbers continue to go down, and we will not be happy until they are at zero. God bless you all. You inspire us all to do the work that we do. We are happy to be here today. Thank you very much.
We'd like to present our U.S. Customs and Border Patrol with this token of thanks from Facing Fentanyl. Their team went above and beyond for us this year, coming in with our other federal partners and uniting us. So we appreciate you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Solidarity across agencies is so very important. Just like our families unite, together we stand here, they stand with us. Our DEA, our CBP, our HSI, NTS, and our NYPD. We thank them so much. We also thank Senator Grassley, who runs our drug caucus. Senator Grassley put a PSA out. Oh, there's our angels, the reason we're here. He put a PSA out this morning recognizing our families, and we still stand behind him. We'll continue every day for fentanyl legislation and so much help that he assists with our families. Can I have the Mendoza family please come up and stand with us? Today, as we gather for National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day, I want to begin by acknowledging the depth of love and grief that fills this sacred space. Every family here and countless more across our nation stands in the shadow of unimaginable loss. We come carrying names, the faces, the laughter, and the dreams of the sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, friends and neighbors we have lost to fentanyl poisoning. Each life taken is not a number. Each life is an entire world, forever missed, forever loved, forever irreplaceable. And because of them, our nation is not the same. This is a solemn moment in history. We're living the deadliest drug crisis our country has ever known. The numbers are staggering, and behind every number is a story of love, of joy, of promise cut short, a story like Nathaniel's. Nathaniel was just 10 years old. 10 years old. Still a child. Full of innocence, wonder, and possibility. His life should have been about playing outside with friends, finding new passions, imagining who he might grow up to be. Instead, fentanyl stole all of that in an instant. His family, like so many of ours, now carries an unfillable void. Nathaniel's story is unbreakable, but it's why we're here. Because Nathaniel's life matters, all of our children's lives matter. Their stories must live on, not only as memories we hold close, but as a call to action that demands we continue to fight. Their stories are the reason we will never stop. We often say that our beloved ones are now our army of angels, and I believe that with all my heart. Though their voices are silent here on earth, they echo in every act of advocacy, in every effort to educate, in every moment we reach one more person with the truth. They are guiding us. We're just the legs. They are strengthening us. They are reminding us that even in the depths of grief, there can be purpose. This year, our theme is hope. Hope does not mean turning away from the devastation. Hope does not erase the tears we've cried or the chairs left empty at our table. Hope means that in the middle of our heartbreak, we choose to believe change is possible. Hope is the light that refuses to be extinguished, even when the darkness feels overwhelming. Hope is Nathaniel's name spoken aloud. Say it. Nathaniel. Hope is every parent who finds the courage, even while broken, to tell their child's story so another child might be spared. Hope is every community that comes together to raise awareness, to educate, and to protect. Hope is to every first responder, every teacher, every neighbor, and every friend who learns, who carries naloxone, who speaks up, and who acts. Hope means we will never give up. To the families here today, your courage is extraordinary. You have turned grief into action. You have turned heartbreak into fuel for change. You have shown this nation that even shattered hearts can speak with power. We did not choose to stand here. But now that we're here, we won't be silent. Everyone hold up your posters and say their names. Daniel. Ashley. We don't forget any of you, and we will continue to tell your story. Fentanyl has changed everything in our lives, but together we will change this nation. Our angels did not die in vain. Their stories are saving lives. Their stories are reaching young people who need to hear the truth. Their stories are shifting communities and shaping policy. Every time we speak their names, every time we fight for awareness, every time we stand together, we are carrying hope forward. You did that. Let us carry Nathaniel's name and the names of all of our angels into the future. Let us honor their memory by building a world where fewer families know this type of pain. Let us declare with one voice that our love is stronger than fentanyl. Our unity is greater than despair, and our hope will outshine the darkness of this crisis. Today we remember. Today we mourn. But most of all, today we choose hope. Because hope is how we honor our angels. Hope is how we protect the next generation. And hope is how we ensure that love, not fentanyl, has the final word. Our families have built a foundation that's unbreakable. We put prevention and awareness everywhere we can. People know what fentanyl is now. They still don't think it can happen to them, but more people know about it than they did when many of us lost our children and had not even heard of it. Today, you give us a platform for the next steps. I'd like to introduce Kamal Barwani. He's going to make a launch for the next steps.
Thank you, Andrea. Good afternoon, everyone. Families, advocates, government leaders, community leaders, members of the media, and friends who have gathered here at the crossroads of the world. It's an honor to stand before you on this bright and cool summer day as we mark a milestone in our fight against the fentanyl crisis. Today is Facing Fentanyl's 4th year here in Times Square. That's quite a testament to the power of community, to the courage of families who refuse to lose hope, and to every partner who has joined hands with us in those 4 years. We've raised our voices, shared our stories, and demanded change. We've watched as the conversation shifted from hushed whispers to public outrage. And we've seen real progress. This year alone, fentanyl-related deaths have dropped significantly. That's not just a statistic. That's kids coming home from school, fathers coming home from work, mothers tucking children into bed, and siblings planning their futures together. Lives saved, futures preserved. Around 20,000 lives alone this year are saved, and that progress belongs to each of you. Every volunteer who handed out naloxone, every social media share that spread our message, every parent who shared their tragic story, and every policymaker who listened. But make no mistake, this is not the time to rest. If we ease off the accelerator now, these gains will slip through our fingers. Even as we speak, new forms of even deadlier synthetic drugs have entered into the United States. Today, I'm calling on all of us, government officials, educators, health professionals, faith leaders, community champions, to double down on 4 critical points. First, we need to attack the supply of synthetic drugs. We must starve criminal networks of their deadly merchandise. This means equipping law enforcement with the forensics, intelligence sharing, data sharing, and international cooperation to trace and intercept shipments at the source. Second, we need to increase awareness. Education is our first line of defense. We need targeted public service announcements across social media and online platforms. We must integrate mandatory training on fentanyl risks and overdose response into public school curricula. It's amazing to me that we teach our kids about safe sex, how to prevent a life, but we don't teach them how to prevent a death. So every teenager, every teacher, every counselor knows exactly and should know exactly what to look for and how to act. Third, we need to expand harm reduction. Naloxone can and should be as ubiquitous as fire extinguishers. Think of every school, home, car, nightclub, restaurant, airport, and airline stocked with this life-saving antidote. It's also high time we increase investments in promising immunotherapy research so that we prevent overdoses and poisonings. Access to these life-saving tools cannot be a barrier. It must be a part of our everyday infrastructure. And there's plenty of money sitting in the state coffers in the form of opioid restitution dollars to fund these initiatives. $55 billion worth. And we must drive criminal reform. We must hold accountable those who knowingly distribute fentanyl or lace other drugs with it. Stronger penalties, fair enforcement, and swift justice will send a clear message. If you peddle poison, you will answer for every life you put at risk. None of this happens in a vacuum. Behind every initiative, every policy recommendation, every life-saving dose of naloxone, there are tireless individuals who have carried Facing Fentanyl forward today. I want to express my deepest gratitude to Andrea Thomas, whose vision, perseverance are the heartbeat of this movement. Andrea, I've seen you work around the clock, rallying families, negotiating with elected officials, and crafting the strategy that saved so many lives. I knew I couldn't continue this fight alone, and I couldn't think of a more capable leader to guide our next chapter.
Yeah.
So, it is with immense pride that I announce Andrea Thomas as the Chief Executive Officer of our newly formed nonprofit, Armor Families.
Yeah.
Armor Families is the merger of Facing Fentanyl and Preclivity, the nonprofit I started after my son Ethan died from fentanyl poisoning. Preclivity has been successful in raising awareness through many media appearances and the launch of Joanna's Vision, a video game that we launched right here at this event last year. Preclivity also has had legislative wins in the form of mandatory placement of naloxone in public places. And alongside us is also our third co-founder, Colin Gage, the CEO of Armor Sciences, whose pioneering immunotherapy research aims to prevent drug poisoning and overdose. Colin, thank you for your collaboration and for bringing scientific innovation to our shared mission. Together, backed by a powerful board of directors, we are forging a united front. So you may wonder, why did we choose the name Armor Families? First, we want our families to be armored, protected from the ravages of addiction and the heartbreak of overdose and poisonings. Second, we intend to arm our families with awareness, knowledge, naloxone, support, and every tool necessary to combat this scourge. The name Armor Families embodies both defense and also empowerment. Today, as we unveil this new banner, we renew our commitment to shield our loved ones, to share the truth about fentanyl and other deadly synthetic drugs, and to build a future where no family suffers the loss of a child, a sibling, a parent, or a friend to this crisis. So please join us. Amplify our message, advocate for the policies we need, support our programs, donate your time, your voice, and your expertise. Together, we will accelerate progress, save more lives, and bring hope to every community. Thank you for your unwavering dedication. Thank you for believing in our unified mission. And thank you for standing with Armor Families as we armor the world against the deadliest threat of our time. Let's get to work.
So when I learned I was going to follow up Kamal, I immediately thought that wasn't fair. There's no better public speaker. There's no one better to propose our mission than him, and obviously Andrea as well. Thank you both, and I'm honored to be a part of this initiative. Bump these up a little bit. Look, I was talking to someone earlier, Deanne here, and I think she said it best. She said, let's turn pain into purpose. That's what this is all about, right? Let's use what we've learned and improve. Let's not accept the status quo. I think my biggest mission here and our biggest mission should be to inspire the next generation to do better. Let's not accept what we have right now. There's always room for improvement. We see it every day in technology with the rise of AI and all of that. The world is very obsessed with that part of the world and software. But I see us lagging behind in the areas that it matters most. And in my opinion, overdose and saving lives is what matters most in this world. Let's dedicate more energy, more passion, more purpose. Let's all come together like this more often. This is powerful. We have law enforcement, we have community, we have mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, all joining together. Let's keep going. Let's use this as inspiration. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. So thank you all for being here, and I appreciate it, and I'm honored to be a part of this mission.
So it's an honor to stand with them. They're very meek. What you haven't heard is where we go next, really. You've heard a little bit of that, but we need science, we need data. We need next progressive, innovative steps. Our families built the platform of prevention and awareness. We're in schools, we're in communities around the nation. Now we go to the next steps. We work behind the scenes. You so often see us on Facebook and social media sharing the work that we've done because we're proud. We're proud that we have finally walked through those doors. We're proud that our children stand in the halls of the White House, stand in the halls of our Congress. We're going to do more work. You gave us that platform. So we thank you today for the launch of Armor. Thank you so much. So, facing fentanyl. It all started with facing fentanyl for us. I made a phone call in 2022 to Jaime Puerta. I'd met him. We didn't know each other very well, but I had some things to discuss with him, and I called him for some advice. I told him about the National Fentanyl Prevention in a Day that was underway, and I needed help. I needed to find somebody that was strong to stand with me, to stand with our families. Before I even finished asking him to partner with me, he agreed to do that. He's truly like a brother to me. Our journey in advocacy has been one of shared pain, resilience, and unshakable commitment to honor the lives of our angels. There are no words that could capture all that we've walked through together. But what I can say is that Jaime has never once wavered in his love for our angels or his devotion to this mission. Jaime carries the memory of our angels with the deepest integrity and reverence. He gives his whole heart to this work, never seeking recognition, but always guided by truth, honor, and love. What I admire most is that he doesn't just speak about our angels. He lives each day in a way that pays tribute to them. He moves forward with strength. Even though heartbreak is around every corner, ensuring that our angels and their voices are never silenced. Ensuring that our angels and voices are never silenced. We may tease each other endlessly, but behind that is the utmost respect. I trust Jaime completely because I know he leads with courage, with integrity, and for the love of our angels. He lights the way for facing fentanyl in so many ways. He is not only my cherished friend, but also a leader whose dedication inspires everyone around him. His beautiful wife, Claudia, is with him here today. We call her the Angel of Mercy because she puts up with Jaime.
True.
Please join us in welcoming my dear friend, Jaime Puerta.
She tried to get me crying before I even started. Thank you, Andrea. That was very beautiful words. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jaime Puerta. I'm the president and co-founder of VOID, Victims of Illicit Drugs, and co-chair of Project Facing Fentanyl. With me today, thankfully, my better half, my beautiful wife, Claudia Ortega. And with me is Mr. Steve Filson and Chris Didier, who are executive board members at VOID. And our special guests, Marcy and Miguel, who lost their 10-year-old boy, Nathaniel Mendoza. I still can't believe that. Please come up. Come over here. There you go. Oh my God. When VOID was founded in March of 2021, we began not as an organization, but as grieving parents who had all lost children due to illicit fentanyl poisoning, with one objective in mind and one shared conviction, and that no other parent should have to stand where we stood, heavily grieving the loss of our children. And we started VOID with that mission, to turn unimaginable grief into life-saving action. And today I want to reflect on how far we've come and what we've done, not only as our organization, but as all of the family organizations and all of the bereaved parents out here today, all of us working collectively, going into schools and high schools and junior high schools and handing out naloxone, all of us working together as one in what we've done and the scope of the crises that we've been fighting. In 2020, we had about 95,100 overdose poisonings in the United States of America. In 2021, there was about 110,700. 2022, 112,600. 2022, a record 112,600. 2023, 110,037. And then this year, finally, according to the CDC, a decline to 80,491. 26.9% reduction from previous years, but still far too high due to the fact that 60% of those deaths were attributable to illicit fentanyl. That is still 132 deaths every day, 5.5 every hour, 1 every 11 minutes. A reason for overwhelming celebration? I think not hardly. But for fentanyl, 48,522 people would still be alive today and are still dying under the same circumstances, unknowingly through deception, ingesting a product containing illicit fentanyl. Each of these numbers is a son, a daughter, a friend, a loved one. They are empty chairs at dinner tables, birthdays that will never ever be celebrated again, and futures stolen in an instant, often by a pill that looked harmless. And since we began, we've reached tens of thousands of students, parents, and teachers with our documentary, Dead on Arrival. We've partnered with schools, law enforcement, DEA to the FBI to bring prevention programs into communities before tragedy strikes. We've handed out thousands of brochures and resources that have started life-saving conversations at home. We've trained people to use naloxone because sometimes those few seconds can mean the difference between life and death. And we've taken our fight to Washington, testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee in support of the Halt Fentanyl Act, which finally got passed this year. And pushing for mandatory fentanyl education in every middle school and high school and colleges across the countries. And today we have hope. The drop in overdose and poisoning deaths last year shows that education, prevention, and awareness, as well as legislative action and law enforcement do work. But we're not done, and we're not even close. And with the emerging presence and distribution of nitazines, a synthetic opioid that makes fentanyl look like baby aspirin, added emphasis on the need for aggressive education and awareness in our schools nationwide is absolutely imperative. Nitazines that have been around since the 1950s, just as fentanyl has, but drug dealers have now decided to incorporate this into their distribution chain. Another synthetic opioid estimated to be 40 to 100 times more powerful than illicit fentanyl. And its source, as with illicit fentanyl, we all know that it comes from China. China is believed to be the primary source of nitazines. And in April of 2024, the House China Select Committee on Strategic Competition with the Chinese Communist Party released a report, and it laid out that the CCP's direct role in the global fentanyl crisis. And the report found that the CCP subsidizes the manufacture and export of fentanyl precursors by giving tax rebates and financial grants to the manufacturing plant's owners. Just so you know, those chemicals are illegal under Chinese law. It also holds ownership stakes in companies tied to drug trafficking, and even more alarming, it has failed to prosecute its traffickers. And in some cases has tipped them off to U.S. investigations, undermining international law enforcement. The conclusion was unmistakable. The CCP is not just looking the other way, it is actively fueling this epidemic here in the United States of America. Thankfully, in December of 2024, the committee's Fentanyl Policy Working Group introduced 3 new bills to combat the crises and presented this administration with additional tools and recommendations to curb the export of this poison to our country. And one of the most consequential actions of this administration in combating the illicit fentanyl trade has been the closing of a very important loophole, which drug traffickers exploited under our trade laws called de minimis, the de minimis exception. It allowed millions of packages worth under $800 to enter our country duty-free with little inspection. Last year alone, it was estimated that 90% of fentanyl seizures came from these shipments alone. That loophole is now closed. Beginning on August the 29th, every package, no matter how small, will face duties, taxes, and customs inspections. This change will make it harder and more costly for traffickers to hide fentanyl, its powders, pills, and precursors in the flood of small parcels arriving daily. That's a huge win. It's a monumental step forward in protecting our children, our families, and our communities from this poison. Also, and I hate to say this, it is no secret that our financial institutions are complicit in laundering hundreds of billions of dollars throughout the years for many of the triads and cartels, all in the name of the almighty dollar. Last October, TD Bank was fined $3.9 billion and pled guilty to conspiracy to commit money laundering. Let me be clear. If one U.S. bank is guilty, others are too. And every dollar they move for the cartels is stained with the blood of our children. The government must use the Fentanyl Sanctions Act and the Fend Off Fentanyl Act to hold these institutions accountable. Expanding such actions to other compromised institutions could disrupt cartel financial networks. And last but not least, we have to rein in predatory social media companies like Snapchat, where drug dealing is the norm. In April of 2024, a group of students from West Ranch High School in Santa Clarita, California, became national finalists in the Actual Foundations Modeling the Future Challenge after tackling the fentanyl crisis in their project. Their research focused on examining the relationship between Snapchat use and illicit fentanyl poisoning deaths in California. Sorry, I got lost. They were highlighting how social media platforms can play a role in drug access. Using data analysis and projections, the team estimated that by the year 2030, in the state of California, 90% of all fentanyl-related fatalities in the state of California could be directly linked to Snapchat. Snapchat isn't just a social media app. It has become a distribution pipeline for counterfeit opioids, and dealers are using its disappearing messages and location features to target kids, and the result is dead children. We began with 4 families from California who had suffered an unfathomable loss. And now our foundation is an integral part of Project Facing Fentanyl, a movement which began with an idea to bring families together to honor our loved ones you see on these magnificent billboards, and inspired by my dear friend, Andrea Thomas, and fueled by your voices, thousands of voices across this nation, united in the belief that one pill should never take one life. And together we have all turned grief into purpose and purpose into action. Let's keep going. Let's keep educating. Let's keep speaking out. Let's please unite as one. And let's not forget, please, why we do what we do in the first place. Let's keep saving lives. Thank you.
Jaime mentioned naloxone. One of our first initiatives to begin working through Armor. I'd like to point out that we have a naloxone area in the corner. We had intended to have a naloxone tent, but time didn't allow. As most of you know, naloxone is more than a medication. It's a second chance at life. It is the difference between a parent planning a funeral and a parent holding their child again. It is the difference between despair and hope. Across the nation, thousands of people who might not be here today are alive because someone carried naloxone, because it was available in a school, in a workplace, in the hands of a police officer, or in the pocket of a friend. Every one of those lives saved is proof of what we can do when we refuse to give up. But access is still uneven. Too many communities, too many families are left unprotected. That is why we must continue to fight for naloxone funding and distribution. It must be everywhere. Schools, businesses, libraries, community centers, every public space, because fentanyl is everywhere. Every life saved with naloxone is another chance for recovery, another chance for love to win, another chance for hope. We cannot bring back those we have lost, but we can ensure that others have the chance to live. Our angel stories remind us that prevention and awareness are critical, but naloxone gives us the power to act in every moment between life and death. It is one of the most important tools we have in this fight, and we will never stop working until it's in every hand, every place, and every community across this country. I think our friends from Emergent may be outstanding with us today. And we want you to know that we stand strong in our commitment to distributing this life-saving antidote. And we will continue to work to make naloxone available everywhere we can. There are so many people that support us in this fight. How many of you have heard of Derek Maltz? If my friend Steve Filson will come up. Derek wanted to be with us today. He has a family event that he has to attend, and family is first to us. So, Steve Filson, if you would please say a few words about Derek.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for everybody being here today on such a monumental occasion in memory of our loved ones. A couple of things, first of all. We share a common theme. Fentanyl changes everything. We have to understand, and society has to understand, fentanyl changes everything. And but for fentanyl, our loved ones would still be here. But for fentanyl, they would still be amongst us. Where do we gather our strength? I don't know. I gather it from the heavens with Jessica looking down upon us, and two people in my life that really go unnoticed. My beautiful wife, Cherie, and my darling granddaughter, Jessica's daughter, Alara, who's with us today. But today we pay tribute to a man I met several years ago while attending a fentanyl protest rally in Washington, D.C. Dressed casually and wearing a low-profile baseball cap, he resembled a grandfatherly figure as he mingled with the crowd. I subsequently met him and discovered he was a man of distinction who had dedicated 28 years of his life to a career with the Drug Enforcement Administration, in which for nearly a decade he headed the organization's Special Operations Division. I didn't know of him then, but that would have been a time that I was part of a unit working one of the DEA's multiple enforcement teams out of the Los Angeles Field Division. And so that introduction resulted in a new friend and a professional relationship that began that day in D.C., not as a police officer, but as Jessica's dad. In a time when the fentanyl crisis has left countless families shattered and communities struggling to understand the scope of its devastation, Derek Maltz Sr. has stood as a tireless advocate, educator, and ally to the grieving. His unwavering commitment to shining a light on the dangers of illicit fentanyl has given a voice to families who have endured the unimaginable, the loss of a loved one due to this ungodly scourge. Derek has dedicated himself not only to comforting families in their grief, but also to transferring that grief into action. He has walked alongside parents, siblings, and children who mourn, offering them strength and solidarity. By elevating their stories to the national stage, he ensures their loved ones are never forgotten and that their losses drive the urgency of change. At the same time, Derek has worked tirelessly to educate the public, lawmakers, and communities about the reality of fentanyl poisoning. Through countless presentations, media appearances, and advocacy efforts, he has carried a simple but powerful message. Education and awareness save lives. His efforts have broken through indifference, challenged misinformation, and galvanized others to join the fight against this epidemic. His leadership has given hope to families searching for purpose in their pain and has inspired communities to act with urgency and resolve. He powerfully portrays a posture promoting the need for unity, and that the problem isn't a red issue, a blue issue, it's a red, white, and blue issue. We honor Derek for his tireless efforts, his courage, and his unshakable dedication. In standing with grieving families and fighting to prevent further tragedies, he's become not just an advocate, but a beacon of strength and truth in the battle against illicit fentanyl. Today, in honoring you, Derek, the only thing missing is your presence, and rightfully so as you attend to your family commitment in celebration of your brother-in-law's retirement from the DEA. But even in your absence, your message continues to resonate amongst us all. And Derek, as this battle continues, we will stand tall beside you as you have and will continue to stand tall beside us. We love you, Derek. Wish you were here.
Derek is the only one that could speak over Times Square without a microphone. I wish he was here. American heroes. Our dear friend James Carroll stands with us today. He stands with us every day.
There he is. There he is. Love you, man.
It's an honor to introduce him here in Times Square. He's served our country and our families with great distinction, including his service as the former director of Office of National Drug Control Policy, our nation's drug czar. In that role, he dedicated himself to saving lives, protecting communities, and standing with families devastated by the drug crisis. Today, we're proud to call him our trusted advisory board member and friend. Jim stands with us not only as a leader with deep experience in public policy, but also with the utmost love and care for the cause we serve together. His commitment, wisdom, and compassion make him an invaluable partner in our mission. And we are truly grateful for his continued dedication. Jim.
Is that better? Can you hear me? I'm honored to be here today among so many friends and families. The reality is I wish I had met them under different circumstances. As the nation's drug czar, I oversaw $40 billion on the fight to save lives. It brought me here. It brought me to celebrate the lives of those who are no longer with us. And although I've left the White House, I'm now running at the largest and one of the oldest trade associations in D.C., the Professional Services Council, which of course has chosen, under my leadership, Facing Fentanyl as our national donor of all recipients. And I'm very proud to say that so many of our 400 companies have stood up to support, not just Colin Gage with Armor Tech. I see Julian Setti from SOSI here. Julian's in the back. Thank you to SOSI. Our member companies represent almost 1 million workers and about $1 trillion that are also engaged in providing services and solutions to the government. At DHS, supporting CBS, at DEA, being able to look and find fentanyl where it's hidden. We also have members in the intelligence community, every 3-letter agency you've heard of and maybe a few you haven't, who are again looking for these traffickers that are pushing this poison to our children. And remember, this is not an overdose, this is a poison. No one wanted to die from this poison. So I'm proud today to represent not just Colin, not just Julian and SOSI, but several other companies. American Systems, Byron Johns, Arc Auspicio, ICF, JBS International, Susan Fitzgerald and Associates, U.S. federal contractor registration, and of course, Vericam. But I'm here not just to represent those companies. When this call went out to support Facing Fentanyl, I got a call from one of our CEO member companies. Byron Johns, whose company, American Systems, is a proud supporter of Facing Fentanyl, lost his son, Bud, in January of this year to a fentanyl poisoning. I asked permission, and with Byron's permission, I'm going to read the poem that was read at Bud's funeral in January. Miss me, but let me go. When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long. Not with your head bowed low, but remember me with the love we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. This is a journey we will all take, and we each must go alone. It is all part of God's plan. It is a step on the road home. I might be one step ahead of you, but we will be home together. When you are lonely and sick at heart, go to the friends we know and bury your sorrows in their shoulders and in their good deeds. Miss me, but let me go. We will let them go to heaven, but we will not forget. And with the proud members of PSC, like SOCI, like Armored Tech, we are going to use the entire resources of the federal government to go after these traffickers, and we will not stop until they are done. We're coming for you.
We started hearing recently that fentanyl was oversaturating the public. They weren't listening anymore. Very sorry. We don't stop there. This is just the beginning. A few years ago, I received a phone call or an email from a gentleman by the name of John Lynch. It caught my eye because my mother had recently passed and her name is Johnny Lynch. John Lynch from ATA and the Trucking Cares Foundation reached out and asked how they could assist. I couldn't imagine how Facing Fentanyl and the ATA could work together. Maybe they could put stickers on trucks. Maybe they could put magnets on them, bringing awareness to the dangers of fentanyl. John asked how to move forward with fentanyl prevention. When I gave him those ideas, he said, I can do much better than that. Let's wrap trucks with fentanyl messaging. Let's get them to the highways. You think we've oversaturated? You haven't seen anything yet. These trucks, like the one that is behind me with my daughter and my grandson, drive the highways of America with the stories of our children's faces. People call us and tell us that they've seen the trucks. ATA makes all of this possible. We want to see more of these on our highway. Who would have thought, sitting at our kitchen tables, working from our computers late at night, trying to think of ways to bring attention to the fentanyl crisis and to save lives, that something like this could have been achieved? Yet here we are, because of their vision, their dedication, and generosity. They have given their hearts to this mission, standing shoulder to shoulder with families and advocates to ensure our messages reach communities far and wide. We are beyond grateful. Their continued support means everything to us. Truly, they make all of this possible. And I want to recognize today Sammy Brewster and Teddy Butler. Are they close? Our heroes who have traveled a long and difficult journey to bring this awareness truck all the way to Times Square. Their courage and sacrifice remind us why this work matters so deeply. Please join me in welcoming John Lynch, ATA, and Trucking Cares Foundation.
Thank you, everybody, for having me here. As Andrea mentioned, I am the president of the Trucking Cares Foundation. And in 2023, we had a few board members approach me and say, we need to do something about the opioid crisis. And we have no idea what we can do. And candidly, they had lost loved ones to opioid addiction or fentanyl poisons. So I got to work researching, see what I can do. One of the other jobs I have at the American Trucking Associations is I work with the Federation. And it's on a lot of advocacy issues, and it's a lot of herding cats. And as I found foundations that so many people had established in recognition of someone who had passed, that's when I stumbled upon Andrea to say she's the one who's herding cats and creating this unified voice. So this particular trailer wrap we came up with, this one's out of Ladston, South Carolina. It is owned by a company called Ability Trimodal. Their head coach, that is literally his title, is a gentleman by the name of Greg Owen. They're based out of the Long Beach area in California. They have another trailer wrap out there, and we have a few other companies that have purchased or are purchasing them. And our goal is to make these rolling billboards available on the nation's highways to help spread the message. It's wonderful what law enforcement is doing and the crackdown that we're seeing in the last few years and really making a difference. But I think most importantly is, and I will say this day, last year and today is about as a parent, about as the most humbling day as 2 days of my entire life. But it's also tremendously inspirational. You guys have been knocked to the ground, suffered the worst of the worst, and are doing something about it. It is truly inspirational to be a part of it and to see everybody brought here together today and to keep hope alive. And we're happy to do whatever we can to assist in your tremendous efforts. But again, I think all the credit goes to all of you here, brave enough when you could be mourning in sorrow, but instead you're taking action and making a difference. So I just want to thank you for all you do. Thank you.
So before I called Jaime with National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day, I made a phone call to my friend Jim Raw. My girlfriend and I had been up late in the evening trying again to think of another way to bring fentanyl prevention and awareness to the public. And she said, what if we put together a national effort? I found a calendar day, I purchased it, and I woke up in the morning and it was accepted. I was a little nervous because sometimes our families, we all have a very loud voice and it's hard to make one decision for so many. I called Jim Raw. I said, Jim, I did a thing last night and I used your stat. His stat had just come out, 18 to 45. I hope you don't mind, and I'd like to talk to you about it this weekend. I created this National Day thing. And he said, okay, great, but we're not going to wait till this weekend to talk about this. Get on your computer and put it on Facebook, put it on social media right now. I said, Jim, I can't do that. I haven't talked to the other parents. He said, that doesn't matter. Somebody's going to die in 5 minutes. There's no time to waste. Get on the computer, put the information out, and let's go. Jim Raw with Facing Fentanyl is one of our trusted and highly respected advocates. He knew long before most of us have stood here, the capabilities of fentanyl poisoning, the capabilities of its destruction. He's been loud. He's never backed down. He's encouraged us to speak out. And still, they don't listen. Now they're listening. The narrative is changing. Everybody, Jim Raw.
Thank everybody for being here. Our son Tom died in 2015 with an overdose or a poisoning of acetyl fentanyl that was sent by the Zhang drug trafficking organization in China. That shipment was traced back to the Chinese government, and in 2017, Matt Cronin and the Justice Department went to China and prosecuted them for his murder. They prosecuted for 3 days, they deliberated for 15 minutes, and they set the Zhangs free. They're still manufacturing fentanyl over in China and shipping it here to our detriment. This is an outrage. we've decided that in order to stop this blight, that we would look for a inescapable policy. So we designated fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. And that's what we're pushing for, because this can go not just to these individuals, but this can be dispersed in the air, food, or water supply. And with the amount that they're able to make, it's an unlimited amount because it's based upon petrochemicals. It's derived from aniline, which is a base material for making all kinds of rubber and plastics. I'm in the rubber and plastic business, so I'm well aware of how fast and how easily this can be manufactured and distributed. Fentanyl has become the #1 killer of 18 to 45-year-olds. My organization had to dig through all of the CDC data to pull that statistic out, which changed the whole viewpoint of how and what was happening to the United States. Right now, 7.5% of U.S. adults are using fentanyl. That's 19 million people. 4.5% are intentional, and 2.5% are non-intentional. So they're being killed at an unbelievable rate. Since 2014 to 2024, 870,000 have died. Just last year, 74,000 died, and it also destroyed all families and friends. Because when somebody loses their children, they lose their lives. They're no longer the same. They're no longer funny. They're trying to cope with whatever grief that they're having, and you become abandoned. The only other people who will speak to you are those who have suffered the same, because you're so amazingly hurt. DEA seizures of fentanyl this year are 60 million pills and 8,000 pounds of powder. That's enough to kill our population many times over. And I'm afraid that fentanyl is being stockpiled in the United States, and it's going to be deployed in mass casualty events in order to destabilize our country, while China does its own evil in taking land and taking countries and influencing the world and destroying democracies through this slow motion poison and through other means. There's a potential 500,000 deaths from 2.2 pounds of fentanyl and 50 million lethal doses from carfentanil. It's 100 times stronger, and carfentanil is showing up all over the country. Every day I search the web for fentanyl news, and every day I'm finding carfentanil here, there, everywhere. And that's on the Organization of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, and it's on the top of the list. This is a chemical that is unadministratable because you can't cut it far enough. My main concern in asking for WMD is my fear of bad actors being able to disperse this material into the general public, either by drones or entering the food supply, or it can even be emulsified and put into the water supply. This is a threat to all of the country. That's why the WMD designation is so incredibly important. It's a confrontation that won't allow wiggle room. This has to be done. The U.S. government's first duty is to protect its citizens, and that involves the FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, ONDCP, and the military. So we're going to get the military to go after this, go after these poisons, go after the perpetrators, and to go after the money. WMD allows you to go after any type of bank accounts in the world under the current negotiations that we have with our foreign governments. So, standing together, we must force our government and implore them that this is a weapon of mass destruction, which is a concrete solution and an affirmation of our power and our ability to stop this poisoning in the United States. And this is why we're here, is to put an end to this, to confront the evil that's being done to us, and to show the world that we're not going to take this anymore. We're going to stand up for ourselves. We're going to do the necessary means in order to shut this down, even if it includes the military. And this should be done as quickly as possible, because as I look at the stockpiling in the United States, this becomes more and more and more imminent day by day.
It's my honor to introduce a dear friend of mine, Amy Neville. She's a mother whose strength and courage has turned unimaginable tragedy into a powerful mission for change. After losing her beloved son, Alexander, forever 14 years old, to fentanyl poisoning, Amy Neville founded the Alexander Neville Foundation. Through her work, Amy has become a leading voice in raising awareness about the dangers of social media harms, while educating youth and families about the fentanyl crisis that is stealing far too many lives. Her tireless advocacy continues to shine in the light of truth and hope and action across communities nationwide. Amy's joined today by her lovely daughter, Eden.
The artist.
The artist of these truck graphics, by the way. Please join me in welcoming Amy.
I love you. Hi, friends. So we're gathered here today to honor those lives lost and to save those that don't realize they're in harm's way. We are living in a time where our kids are in constant danger, and that danger is coming straight through their phones. Social media was supposed to connect us, inspire us, make the world smaller, but in a good way. Now it's being used as a weapon. Drug dealers are hiding in plain sight, using these platforms to target our children, selling counterfeit pills made with illicit fentanyl, a deadly poison often delivered in under an hour. My precious Alexander was just barely 14 years old. He was smart, funny, full of life. One night he took what he thought was a prescription pill that was obtained through Snapchat. It wasn't. It was fentanyl. And in an instant, he was gone. His story is not rare. It is happening every single day in every community and every state. Here's the truth. From January to 2024 to January 2025, we saw a 25% decrease in drug deaths. That's proof, absolute proof, that prevention, intervention, and awareness work. But just last month, the CDC reported drug deaths are starting to rise again. And at the very same time, life-saving drug prevention funding is on the chopping block. That is like taking water away from the fire department in the middle of a wildfire. And the companies that run these platforms, they know. It's been 5 years since Alex died, and not much has changed. These companies have the data, the technology, and the power to stop it. They continue to choose profits over people, they choose algorithms over accountability, and our children pay the price. But here's the thing that they don't understand. We are not going away. We are the parents. We are the advocates. We are the survivors, and we will not be silenced. We will stand right here in Times Square. We will stand on every stage, speak into every microphone, fill every inbox, show up in every meeting, and keep our Snapchat lawsuit alive until these companies and our leaders put safety over profit. So today I'm asking you, are you ready to keep fighting? Are you ready to protect our kids? Then remember this, burn this into your heart. If we don't quit, they don't win.
So you might feel like we're running a little long here, but it's our day to voice everything that we feel about this crisis that's killing so many Americans. We just added a new advisory board member to Facing Fentanyl. Her name is Paula Santos Young. I'm honored to introduce her. She's a dedicated member of our advisory board now. Paula works tirelessly to warn others about the dangers of fentanyl and marijuana, carrying forward her mission in the loving memory of her son Andrew, whose life was tragically taken by marijuana laced with fentanyl. Through her courage and determination about something that so many consider a taboo subject, Paula has transformed her grief into powerful advocacy. She stands with families across the country, sharing Andrew's story to raise awareness, protect young people, and prevent future tragedies. Her strength, her compassion, and unwavering commitment make her an invaluable voice in this fight, and we are deeply grateful for the light she brings to this cause. A lot of people don't want to talk about this. Fentanyl and marijuana. Why? It's in everything else. What would make you think that it couldn't be in marijuana? We're not suggesting the cartels bring it in. We're using fact-based information. Fact-based information from our MEs, from news sources, and from toxicology and death reports that we see across the country. Polly.
Sorry, I'm short, so I apologize. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paula Santos Young. I stand here proud to serve, humbled and honored as an advisory council member of Facing Fentanyl. Above all, I stand here today as Andrew's mother. His memory is what guides my mission. Andrew lost his life to fentanyl poisoning March 8, 2022 in Maryland, where he was a basketball coach for youth. He was given the joint by someone he actually knew. It was his assistant coach. What he didn't know was it was laced with fentanyl and xylazine. People continue to die. We continue to hear the tragedies. We saw this truth in Austin, Texas, in the end of April 2024. Austin experienced a catastrophic mass poisoning event in just 72 hours. First responders rushed to more than 70 calls, and as many as 12 people lost their lives. Among the drugs seized during police operations, investigators discovered marijuana contaminated with illicit fentanyl. This wasn't a theory, it was a reality. It's my reality. It's a reality that continues to happen across the country. Even the decision with fentanyl being in marijuana continues to be hushed, almost taboo for people to want to face. The tragedies don't stop there. In April 2025, a 27-year-old woman in Rhode Island, who was in a hotel room, died unknowingly after consuming marijuana that was also laced with illicit fentanyl. She had not purchased it from the dispensary. Authorities issued a public safety warning, uncovering how a single puff can be fatal. This is not isolated. In Connecticut, in 2022, several people suffered fatal poisonings after using what they believed was marijuana. Toxicology lab reports confirmed fentanyl contamination was yet another prompting of a state advisory health warning. These stories and many others throughout the United States confirm what too many people still deny. Fentanyl is making its way into marijuana, and people are dying. This is not an issue to be hidden. It is one we must confront together with courage and honesty. Stop saying that fentanyl cannot be in marijuana. I hear that all the time. And I'm telling you, it's happening. Many people, including youth, see marijuana as being legalized in many states. It's widespread. But what they don't understand is it can be laced when you get it from someone off the street. We must continue to stand for the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. We must challenge the silence, remove the blinders, and protect lives. In a world filled with so much noise, it's easy to feel small. But look around. Families, advocates, first responders, law enforcement, all together in a powerful chorus. We are the chorus. We are not going to be silenced. This is not just about speaking, it's about standing for what is right and being the change that we want to see. Margaret Mead said it best: never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed citizens can change the world. While you're looking at them. We might have started small, but we're growing, and we're not going to stop. We have built an army, and we will continue to be the voice for those that can no longer speak. Let us keep speaking the truth, even when it's hard to hear. Let us see the hidden dangers and turn our grief into meaningful action. When I speak in Massachusetts, where I'm from, I have something I say every time. And this is for all of our angels. Our angels' legacy is not going to be how they passed away, but it's going to be at how many lives they're saving.
My friend Amy Neville would say this is uncomfortable work, in the words of Alexander. This is uncomfortable work. It's hard to hear. That's why there was so much silence before. Paula talked about those toxicology reports that are so important. So many of us ask each other, how many of you have turned to someone else and said, can you help me read this? Can you tell me what this means? We get them every day. Please read my child's toxicology report. I can't bear to look at an autopsy report. Can you please just tell me what I need to know? How can this ever be? How can this be a time that this is happening to so many? A couple of years ago, I attended a family summit DEA held here in New York, and a gentleman spoke. He stuck out to me, and I share his message almost everywhere I speak now. He used an out-of-the-box thinking, because so many times we work with people that have a list of rules and a list of procedures, and we can't go outside of those guidelines. Why? Just step to the side. This is a gentleman that's done that. And through his work, he has helped people like the DEA, NYPD, law enforcement, act faster in the case of drug deaths. He doesn't wait a year to turn reports out when it's too late and we don't know where a hot spot is, or before DEA or law enforcement can do something about it. He acts now. This is a mission, a message we should share across the country. When you're speaking with in your localities, share this message. We're happy to introduce Dr. Graham, the New York Chief Medical Examiner.
Good afternoon, friends. Thank you to Andrea and to Project Facing Fentanyl, to all the event organizers for the invitation and the opportunity to speak today. As I was introduced, I'm Jason Graham. I'm the Chief Medical Examiner for the City of New York. I'm really honored to be here, not alone, but with all our partners and all of you in this effort, especially to share this time with the families directly affected by the fentanyl-fueled overdose crisis. Our agency, the Office of Chief Medical Examiner, has a special relationship with families built on trust and communication at the most challenging times. And I want to talk today about how we are leveraging this unique relationship and our very strong partnerships to advance innovations that are making a difference for individual lives. But first, as a practicing physician specializing in forensic medicine, allow me to comment on and reiterate some of what you've already heard regarding the latest available data. Data being one of the strongest tools that we have in our arsenal to fight this problem. Recent data shows that the numbers of overdose deaths continue to fall across New York City and nationwide compared to their unprecedented peak over very recent years past. But even one death from an overdose is one loss too many, as those of us gathered here know. And illicit fentanyl remains the primary culprit, the driving force leading to these tragedies. While the latest trends give us reasons to feel hopeful, and certainly this gathering today is another reason, we've got to continue to remain vigilant and stay united. I've often said that but for the COVID-19 pandemic, the opioid overdose crisis driven by fentanyl would be the public health crisis of our lifetimes. And as a medical doctor, I know that unprecedented emergencies demand an all-hands-on-deck response. And here are some of the innovative ways that New York City is responding as experienced from the front lines of the crisis at my office. first partnerships. Take, for example, the city's RX Stat initiative, which began more than a decade ago as the country's first public health and public safety partnership guided by the North Star of reducing overdose deaths. RX Stat, of which my office is part, has grown from a small handful of agencies to more than 30 partners across all levels of government, together taking data-driven, cross-sector action steps to reduce overdoses and save lives. Data. Prompt and accurate data about overdose deaths helps inform policy and guide interventions that save lives. The city has made significant investments in the Office of Chief Medical Examiner to help us provide critical information to our partners in public health and public safety better and faster. With these improvements, we can keep pace and even stay ahead of the developments of the drug supply on the streets. And outreach to families. Our Drug Intelligence and Intervention Group at the Medical Examiner's Office was formed in response to the overdose crisis. DIG, as it's referred to internally, this innovation not only spearheads our data efforts, but every day now reaches out to families who have lost a loved one to drug overdose, offering the care and practical services of social workers. We want to meet surviving loved ones where they are, unfortunately now having dealt with the same families sometimes more than once. This outreach following a fatal overdose is also truly primary prevention work, located upstream from other potential fatal overdoses, where our efforts can make a difference and save lives. The city is also laser focused on changing the culture, with recent initiatives aimed at addressing public drug use and improving quality of life and safety for residents and visitors, while making significant investments in outreach and treatment to help those who are homeless, struggling with drug addiction, help find help and connection. These innovations and other progress are not possible without the full engagement of our partners and participation of family and friends at some of the most challenging and sensitive moments of their lives. And so I want to conclude by saying thank you for showing up, for all you do, and we're very grateful for your continued meaningful partnership in this fight. Together, I do very strongly believe we can and we will defeat the fentanyl epidemic and together save lives. Thank you very much.
Partners, you know, our advocacy is no different than any other. When there's tragedy, whether it's hurricanes or cancer or any other tragedy, people always come in, they disrupt something good, and it happens all the time. It happens to us now. We reached out earlier this year to the Black Poster Project. We'd been watching their work for a few years and saw the beautiful tributes that they were putting in communities across America. When we reached out to them, they jumped in feet first all the way to support us in this effort. We have this military tribute here, but you haven't seen anything until you see St. Patrick's Cathedral. Last night we had the honor of going in and getting to take a peek at the tribute that they put together for us today. It was breathtaking. You have to go. There's a procession that we will meet at Grand Central Station at 4 o'clock today and head directly to St. Patrick's Cathedral, where you will see the most stunning, heartbreaking, bittersweet tribute to so many lost to fentanyl poisoning. I encourage the press to go there. You've never seen anything like it. It's the most beautiful tribute to people lost to drug poisonings in the United States. Thank you so much, Black Poster Project. So all of these angels that were on the board doubled this year. People send their photos in to us every day. There's so many still coming in, probably right now as we speak. It's heartbreaking to look at each one of them. I used to do a small run of banners on my own. And I was so blessed to meet my very good friend, Adrienne Sauter. She's been awake for 3 years. She's every single one of these posters that you see and all of those angels she cares for with love. She honors my daughter, my son, and all of our children every day. It's monumental. You can't imagine the hours that she puts in after her full-time job. And I hate to say at her full-time job. I couldn't do this kind of work without all of the families, right? We all do this because we have support for each other. There's so many people here that do such good work. I wish I could say everyone's name. I was watching my granddaughter over here. She's decided to join me now. We should have put her on the speaker list, but she was holding up her aunt's picture. I'm so proud of you. This is why we do the work we do. For you, for my grandchildren, for our other children, for so many out there. You know, our families struggle. There's a fallout that my girlfriend talks about all the time with our families. We may have lost one child, but there's so many people that are affected, so many people. So maybe we lost 112,000 in the year before, but how many people did that affect? 1 million? 500,000? How many people does that affect? And what's to come? Our families aren't unique to any other American family. There are good parents, there are bad parents. There's no book for this. We all do the best that we can do. There are children at risk. There are children that are privileged. They're all dying, no matter what their situation is. Today we have another launch called Recovery Ready Families. We've seen families of ours continue to suffer. Many of us have more than one child that we lost. There are families that have lost 2 or 3 children, even more family members. Many of our families' struggles, siblings, children, parents with addiction, from the grief, the pain that we've experienced from the loss of another in our family. Today, with the launch of Recovery Ready Families, together with the National Alliance for Mental Well-Being, we're proud to give a guidebook out that can help us. That's all it is a guide. There's no magic answers. But it's something to help in our grief and address the realities of what's going on. So please look for that on our website. If you see our end speaker today, it says Michael Fiore facing fentanyl, and there's nothing written there. At our first National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day, we had a small event in Denver, Colorado. Mike had been reaching out to me and sharing some of his messaging, some of his social media. And he came into Denver to speak with us. And I saw something that I'd never seen before. I was worried. I didn't want to. I was hesitant to work with people in recovery. I'd lost my daughter, and I didn't want to get close to anybody else that might suffer in that same way that I couldn't help. I have watched Mike grow every day. There's nothing written here because his story will go on and on and on. It changes every day for the better. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of how you walk with our families. I have seen you sit at the tables of DEA, HSI. You've sat with our families. They love you. We can hardly wait to see what comes next. Michael Fiore.
Before I get started, I just have to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because if it wasn't for his grace and mercy, I wouldn't be able to be before you here today. I do want to thank you. I want to thank the law enforcement. Being a former addict, you guys get a bad rap. There's a stigma attached with law enforcement. As a former addict that didn't like you guys, I didn't like you because I made you do your job. So I just want to let you know, as someone that might have made it difficult, I want to apologize. And I want to tell you, do not stop your job. Do not stop enforcing the law. There needs to be accountability. I'm letting you know I learned my lesson my last time in jail, and I realized that I needed to change something. So do not change what you're doing. I thank you for all the hours that you guys sacrifice from your families to be able to make sure that these drugs come off our street. So please keep doing what you're doing. And the last thank you is going to go to the families. They thought you guys were crazy. They thought you were a bunch of grieving parents that just wanted people to get locked up. If it wasn't for the families, we would not even be here today in our country with the awareness being where it is. So I want to thank you for being on the rooftops. And I want to thank you for not stopping you from yelling on those rooftops. And I thank you for keep going, you guys. And I want to thank you for giving my recovery purpose by allowing me to walk alongside you guys and giving my lived experience an opportunity to be able to educate the public. So without you guys, without Andrea Thomas, I would not be the man I am today. So I want to thank you. Even though you lost your children, you guys still love me as if I'm one of yours. So at Facing Fentanyl, we are the foremost and the most visible force against all things fentanyl related. Again, like Andrea said, my name is Michael Fiore. I'm Director of Outreach as well as Recovery. A little quick about myself, 20 years active addiction. I lost both my parents to AIDS from heroin use, 2 grandmothers to alcoholism, a grandfather to heroin, and an uncle to heroin. So I think I have a pretty good experience that could talk between old drugs and new drugs. What we're dealing on the street is not old drugs. Why I go to drugs, I lost my identity. Your opinion of me mattered more than the opinion of myself. The first time I did drugs, I felt like I found myself. I was going to do this for the rest of my life. The difference between that and now is I wasn't dealing with fentanyl. These kids are going to the drugs the same reason I went to the drugs. Loss of identity, bullying, people pleasing, all the things. So you keep hearing the word overdose. Please take it from someone that did drugs. We are not dealing with overdoses in our country. The definition of overdose means the excessive use of drugs. Andrea's daughter took a half a pill. That is not an excessive use of drugs. If we keep telling society that we're dealing with overdoses, what 10-year-old kid is going to think they're going to overdose on 1 pill? Are we also implying that there's such thing as a safe dose by saying overdose? So addiction, what is addiction? It's just an escape. But what is recovery? Something totally different though. Recovery means to become to a normal state of mind and body. So let's talk about how fentanyl has changed recovery. The kids need recovery now before they even pick up the drugs. Because the first time they pick up, they could die. People that are in recovery that were former addicts have a higher chance of dying the longer and longer they stay off the drugs. To give you an illustration, act like you're on a diet and the first time you have a piece of pie, you die. That's what it's like for someone in recovery. The longer and longer we stay off the drugs, the higher and higher the chance of us dying goes. So fentanyl's not just changing drug use. Fentanyl's not just taking our kids. Fentanyl's changing the way we need to recover. My message is very clear to people in recovery. The time to remain anonymous is over. Over. There's no 10-year-old kid that's going to Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous and getting to hear a story that need to hear. The stigma associated with addiction is because there's so many of us that could not hide I picked up cigarette butts off the floor where we're standing. I lived on the New York City subway system. Some of us that are in recovery got to come out and start taking some of the shots. Stigmas exist because there's ignorance. Ignorance exists because there's no education. I couldn't hide my addiction. Why would I get in recovery and hide the best version of me? So if you're in recovery and you're hearing this, it's time to stop being anonymous. If you're in recovery, we need to start taking some shots. If you're in recovery and just getting your life together, that's not enough. You need to step up and stand with the families and stand with law enforcement. And like Andrea said, and I'm going to back it up with Mr. Tarantino, this is not a war on drugs. This is a fight to save lives. And the more we see as a drug problem, 18 to 45, does that sound like a drug addicts to you? You know what the age rate of dying quickest? 17 and under. Sound like drug addicts to you? This is a humanitarian problem. And the more and more we think it's separate and we think it's law enforcement's problem or legislation's problem or the parents' problem, the more and more we think it's one person's problem, the more and more there's going to be a life dying every 5 minutes. So the message is clear. This is not a war on drugs. This is a fight to save lives. And like Andrea said, we'll be going to St. Patrick's Cathedral. If you think fentanyl is a drug addict's problem, I'm telling you right now, drugs don't discriminate. And fentanyl is an extermination of human beings. You want to see the extermination? Come walk with us to St. Patrick's Cathedral. Have your voice be heard. Don't let stigmas exist. Keep fighting for the loved ones and let our voices be known that we will not stop. And I got one more thing. Galatians 6:9. Let us not grow weary of doing good. For in due season we will reap if we do not give up. There is no more giving up. There's just saving lives. Thank you so much.
To everybody at home that's watching on our live, you created this message. Everyone here, our families here, everyone at home. You created this message. You continue to carry it. Now we move to the next steps. Armor families. We will arm our families. We will arm the nation's families. And we move to the next steps with science and data and innovation. Armor Families just went live. Please visit us at armorfamilies.org and walk with us. Meet us at Grand Central Station at 4 o'clock. Walk with us to St. Patrick's Cathedral and see this beautiful tribute by the Black Poster Project. I challenge every one of you today, and I hope it sticks in the crevices of your mind, to share this message at least once today. And when you share it, ask that person to share it. Thank you for another year of fentanyl prevention. Go out, stand strong, speak strong, save someone. Thank you.
I'm not leaving. How are you? You all right? We here the whole time? Yes. Oh my God.